Welcome back, folks. This is Yvette Gibbs and my co-host slash Neff, Mr. Slim DeWitt. We're here for episode 4 of the Owujo experiment. And this week we'll be covering 2 topics, or touching on 2 topics. The main topic is the matriarchs and how that relates to the Black art that is hip hop, and it being American art, and our story. So 2 weeks into one, because it all comes together as it usually does. And well, actually, Slim, I'm sorry. Go ahead, say hello, honey.
What's going on, folks? Thank you kindly for joining us, and we look forward to having a soul-infused conversation, hopefully educational to those who may not know too much about some of the individuals we name. And we hope you feel some of that soul and passion we have for some of these matriarchs who hip-hop wouldn't be the same without.
No, it would not. It would not. We definitely see eye to eye on that. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the topic out there, which is we're going to discuss the essential role women have played in hip hop's introduction and elevation. Let's talk about the female rappers who shaped hip hop. And this is an article, or in reference to an article that was published by Discover Music June of last year. So the article is paying tribute to the early days of hip hop and the female rappers who were essential to the genre's biology. And Slim, that aligns with what you just said too. So let me read this bit. From the start, hip hop was about storytelling, just as the sound of the movement was created by creative repurposing of music that already existed. The success of the genre's MCs was based on their willingness to shatter old forms and wield the shards to create a new style of self-expression. The 80s and 90s saw the best male and female rappers alike used wordplay, repetition, and extended metaphor to relate experiences that were dark, violent, romantic, or hopeful, casting themselves as hero, witness, or seer. But given the music industry's history of marginalizing the contributions of women, it's easy to see hip hop as a boys' club. Braggadocious lyrics about violence, sex, swagger, and masculinity reign in a space where women, in most cases, are cast as either conquest or faceless Greek chorus, their own stories largely ignored. But in the early days of the genre, while critics were still deriding hip hop as a passing fad, female rappers were beginning to make up a formidable piece of the genre's biology, unapologetically detailing their interpretations and experiences of the world they lived in. They all had distinct variations in style, flow, and lyrical content, but what each woman had in common was a fiercely independent voice and the power to remain consistently and resoundingly herself. That's that. So you got anything to say on that?
I mean, I love the statement. Yeah, it says a lot on its own.
Yes.
I don't know if I have much to add.
Yeah. And it was a little more than I had wanted to pull from the article, but it's like this needs to, yeah.
It gives the full breath.
Yeah, don't mess with perfection. Don't mess with perfection, and that's how I feel. I jokingly remind people that I'm as old as hip hop because I need them to know, like I come from the beginning. Like I've seen this movement, I've lived this movement, I've felt this movement. This movement has really shaped me. So that last line, about the power to remain consistently and resoundingly herself, like that is me. I'm not compromising myself anymore. I'm not giving up on who I am. I am who I am. I am, and I love it. So I want to start the conversation off, Slim, by talking about one matriarch in particular. And though she did not create or invent hip hop, she's known as the mother of hip hop. And she does get the credit for bringing it together, getting it into the studio, taking it from the streets and bringing it into the studio and making it mainstream. And that would be Miss Sylvia Robinson.
You'd like me to share my thoughts first?
I would.
I didn't know much about Sylvia Robinson. I did know the main overarching title that I didn't even know she started Sugar Hill Records, but I know she's the one that got the Sugar Hill gang together. Hey, let's record this track, put it out, which was enough for me because I was raised in a household full of independent and strong Black women with a mother whose slogan for me is, even in this art space or when it comes to getting a job, making money, get it done. That's her. My dad's slogan is live above the rim, but hers, especially in my adult life, has been get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to eloquently say this. I really don't want to jump the gun. I get really excited when it comes to talking about Black women because people they're within our society, they're the bottom of the totem pole. Yet, without the bottom of the totem pole, it would collapse. It would fall. I would love to end it there, but I'd like to expand. So, with Sylvia Robinson, I see her with Sugar Hill Gang and with hip hop as you with me, as my mother for me, as any single, and my mother's not didn't I wasn't raised in a single Black mother home. My dad was present, but like when I see single Black mothers out here, and when as I've grown and gotten older, now some of my peers are single Black mothers, seeing how their, whether it's conscious or not, how their slogan is get it done, and they're going to get it done. How can we, so when we connect to this, how can I support you? How are we going to get this, that, and that? And even the other week you were saying I'm starting to find myself sort of as your manager, and I was like, yeah, like you, I don't want to expose anything that you're setting up behind the scenes, but it's like, how in the hell would any of this stuff be happening without you? Um, so I want to take a little moment, give you your flowers, and then bring it back to Sylvia Robinson. I can see it almost like a movie already. So like you go to a party in the Bronx, the Boogie Down Bronx, they getting these parties going, the MCs are up on the stage, and you hear these same rhymes. So I know the history behind the rhymes being, yeah, she got some guys from Jersey, Wonder Mike, Hank, and I forget the last guy's name. But I remember that's the Sugar Hill Gang, and they're from Jersey. Those weren't even their rhymes, apparently. They stole them
Mm-hmm.
from guys in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure I can see it. Sylvie's like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You can do it. Are you capable of rapping on beat on the record? Can you do those things? Okay, come on. I
Yeah.
can see it. You, come on. You can do it too. Let me hear you. Good enough. Come on. Like I can.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this done. This is too beautiful. This is too powerful. And we can make money off of this. Let's do it.
Yes, let's monetize on this.
Exactly. Let's
Mhm.
capitalize. Let's make it happen. Or what I gotta do? I have to start a record label. How do you do that? All right, let's get it done. I can see it already.
Yeah.
And where would we be in hip hop if not for her? So yes, s- record label execs now came in and took control of the narrative and the sound and directed. But where would we be had she not grabbed it and started it off?
Yeah.
Would Grandmaster Flash's The Message even been created? That's neither here nor there, but it's a question worth asking. And I can already see Sylvia being the hub, the person that made it happen, that got it done. Because I've been surrounded by so many Black women who do exactly the same. I was raised around all Black women. That's both my sisters, my mother. I had two girl cousins raised like my sister living around the corner, all their friends, plus another girl cousin. And I mentioned my cousin who's no longer with us. That's his sister. All women plus their friends. And I've had these Black, a lot of them fight men. And then you got my mama and then my auntie, who's like my second mama. And I never processed that until I got a little older. So yeah, I was raised around all women. I don't know who I'd be. I don't know where I'd be. I don't know how high up I'd be if not in my young adult and in moving forward life with my girl from next to my side. She's the battery in my back. I want to start a life with her and I want to be the provider I need to be. She does that. My mother's elevating me from down here as her son. She's been my foundation. We were introduced, and now you've been lifting me up on my artistic side. Who and where would I be? So, just from my own personal experience, my sister's been holding me down. I show her a song and she's gassing me up like, no, this is one of them ones. If I didn't have that, and I'm not saying she's only my cheerleader, my sister, that's one of the realest people I know. But had I not had and been supported and surrounded by this, anyway, let me reel it in. That's what I think Sylvia Robinson is for hip hop. That's why she is the mother. That's where would we be without black women? And I can only wonder, am I allowed to say this? Where the country would be?
Go, you allowed to look. We can cut it out.
Okay.
It's
Because
too
where? Because
much.
where? Because where? After election day, I just said, unfortunate. America could use a black woman's touch because I know my entire life is that I know what a black woman can do, and that's anything. Put the bar anywhere, and they're gonna get it done. Harriet Tubman, what slaves would be free? What enslaved folks would be free? Let me correct myself.
Yeah.
I said I'm gonna reel it in. That's all I got to say on Miss Sylvia Robinson.
That's all you got to say. I feel like that's it. I mean, what we at a 5-minute podcast? You said it all.
maybe I got more, but I'm trying to reel it in. That's
Yeah. Well, Slim, to start, I'm proud of myself because they start to activate just a little bit, but they ain't doing. Look, I got my tissues here. I'm ready. Um, thank you for what you said about me, and just thank you. I'm
thank
gonna
you
need
for
some.
what you're doing. I'm beyond grateful. We're just getting started. I'm
Just
beyond
getting
grateful.
started. Just getting started, and you have been a godsend, Slim. You really truly have. And I was talking with my god brother. Shout out to Terrell Brown, aka Money. I was talking to him earlier, about the podcast, about you, and to hear the excitement in his voice because he's very critical. Makes me feel really good, because I know that he doesn't blow smoke up nobody's tail,
Mhm.
so he says what he means. And yeah, you've said a lot, so I'm gonna have to sit with that for a little bit and come back. But know that this smile on my cheek's gonna be hurting later because
You deserve all the smiles. All the
thank you, thank you, thank you. And I don't think we've talked about this much, but the reason that I started Awujo is because of the women that were around me, the women
Mhm.
that lifted me up. So what you said about women being at the bottom of the totem pole and holding folks up, um, that's what we've been doing, carrying things on our back, holding the communities up. And for me to be in a neighborhood that had strong Black women that constantly not only checked on each other but checked on the children too, like
Mhm.
that was special. That was so special. And my god brother's grandmother, who I called Gran, that woman supported me with so much, that up until my mother's last breath, she rode in the ambulance with me, uh,
Mhm.
to the hospital when my mom died suddenly in my arms on election day, November 4th, 1997. We literally went from laughing to crying.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't for the women in that neighborhood, the one woman, Frank and Matthew Hammond's mother, who I didn't even know that woman all that well, but she drove by and she saw me crying and she stopped her car and she just got out and held me. So shout out to her. Shout out to all the women of the country, Burlington City's country, because you all poured into me. And I aspire to be like you. And when I learned about Sylvia Robinson and what she did to hip hop, I'm like, I feel like that's there. She mentored people, and I've heard things, and I just saw too that MC Shyrock, who we're going to talk about more in a little bit, or maybe this is a good segue even into that, and we can kind of combine the two. I saw that they won their lawsuit. It was a 40-year lawsuit to be appropriately compensated for their contributions, and I'm not going to kick Sylvia's back in for even what could be perceived as that mismanagement, because the industry itself is a tough industry. And, when you know better, you do better. And unfortunately, I think the standard has been kind of low for some time. And I'm glad that MC Shyrock and I think the group is called the Fabulous 4+1. Does
Funky
that
Four
sound
Plus One.
okay? I'm glad that they won their lawsuit. They should have. But let's not take away from what Sylvia did. She was a talent scout. She saw that talent. She heard the potential, and she made it happen. And everyone did benefit. Could the margins have been a little bit different? Absolutely, but everyone did benefit. And look at where we are now. She really brought it mainstream, and she couldn't have done that if she didn't see the talent that existed. And like you said, would the message had even come out if she didn't see the potential there? And then the message, oh my goodness. So let me share this real quick. That song means so much to me for just a lot of different reasons. It's one of those songs that I kept hearing over my life and realizing it, or feeling as though I heard it, for the first time all over again. And I went on vacation to visit my former boss in California in 2018. And I was driving with him. I'm sorry, with his wife and his best friend's wife, so two white women. And the message comes on, and we sang the stuffings out of that song. And I'm sitting in this car driving with these two white women. Okay. And one is from Sweden, and we are singing the stuff. So now when I hear that song, I think of them. And I'm like, that's what our music does. It connects people. It brings people together. And that song is so deep. And I do, want to make sure people listen to the message between the bars. But the power that we have in our artistry to unite folks is amazing. And it transcends color lines. It transcends, regions, countries, all of it, so there's power in that. And, for me as a Black woman, I love knowing that, we're a part of that. We're a part of spreading that love. We're a part of spreading that message. We're a part of identifying that talent and making sure that talent is seen for what it is. And kudos to Sylvia Robinson, for doing what she did. And kudos to your mom, your sister, your girl for doing all of what they do. And I'm glad to know that you've been, around women that have your back like that, Slim. Because there's some diabolicals ones out there.
We ain't even gonna get into that
one. There's some diabolical ones out there, and we don't have to go there, because no differently than how people may have opinions about Sylvia Robinson's management style. All of us have room for improvement. When you know better, you do better. So shout out to the diabolical women out there, and work to integrate that shadow. I had to do it. It's not easy. Yeah, it ain't easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it
for you and everybody surrounding.
Yes. I went to an Underground Railroad. I went to an award show that was hosted by the Underground Railroad this past Friday.
Wow.
And I think I shared this. Yeah, I shared this with you. The lady that was essentially the MC of the event was someone I remembered, from my childhood church, Wesley AME Zion Church. And, to see her, shout out to Miss Joyce Payne, for the first time in all of that time, I'm like, she's still doing what she's doing,
So,
uplifting children, still doing it. They had this young girl come out, and I really need to get this young lady's name. She couldn't have been any more than 10, 11, part of this young orators club. And she came out with no cards, no prompt, and she did like a 5 minute, presentation.
yes.
Right. And I'm like, again, on those shoulders of the Black women holding her up. So it was beautiful to see Mrs. Payne still doing what she's doing, and the rest of the Black women that were there, because there was a lot of them. There was a lot of them. And, going back to Sylvia Robinson again, she showed people the ropes. And that's what the women that I saw on Friday were doing, and that's what they were doing for me when I was little, and that's what I grew up in. Them showing us the ropes, because success is something that we got to help each other with. It's about the partnerships. It's about learning from other people's mistakes. As we talked before we even hit the record button here. We need to learn from one another. So yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Slim. You touched my heart. You really did.
Right. Gotta give folks their flowers while they're here with us.
Yeah. Well, I told you what my mom used to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she would say, "Y'all better give me my flowers now, because I'm not going to be able to appreciate them when I'm gone." So, thank you, Slim. Thank you. And anything else you want to say about Sylvia before we dive into MC Shyrock a
I
bit
think
more?
that's all for me. I think that's all.
Okay. So MC Shyrock, and I didn't know that she was the first female rapper. Until
Neither
maybe
did I.
you didn't either.
Until that 50 years of hip hop, neither did I. I that rabbit hole I climbed down when I was researching, because I thought it was gonna be cute, like my lesson plan that I showed on TikTok and the one I taught back when I was working at my old high school. And then I actually started seeing related videos, and I dug a little more, and then I show my dad this thing. He's like, "Oh, well, you know about this guy, right?" And then I found MC Shy Rock. That's why I threw her in the lyrics too. I'm like, I didn't know. I gotta gonna look her up.
Hmm. I didn't know about it or know about her until maybe a year ago, and it might have been off of your content, Slim.
Mm,
It may have been, because we talked about that. Like I knew that what you were doing was needed. I just didn't know how I was going to be able to make that happen. So when I went on the TikTok and saw that you had did it, I was like, oh my God. Like, this is amazing. So, I learned a lot from you too, and I was very proud of the work that you had did, and all the dots that you were connecting. And knowing, your age, I'm like, I can really help him to understand what was going on back then,
mm,
what was happening, and what society was experiencing, what the energy was like,
yeah.
during some of these different milestones, and learning about MC Shyrock. It was a little bittersweet, because I'm like, I should have known about her. Like, I'm as old as hip hop. I should have known about her.
Mm,
But I didn't, and now I do, and I'm glad to know about her. I appreciate knowing about her, and she has a story that also resonates with me. So I started listening to an NPR podcast called Louder Than a Riot, and she's featured in it's season 2, episode 2. And the quote I pulled from that is her saying, "You got to fight and fight and fight for your legacy."
I saw that, and it's so crazy that that's the quote you pulled. Because when I went down the bunny hole again, this research spanned for weeks, dang near months. For the lyrics I was writing, for the songs I was choosing, for I get into this bunny hole with Shy Rock, with MC Shy Rock. Let me put some respect on the queen name. And your quote you pulled from an NPR podcast is, "You got to fight and fight and fight for your legacy." The one video I found of her talking to the camera was, I think it was her own personal podcast, or her own whatever it was her doing that, fighting for like, I'm the first female MC, not this person, not that person. And I mean, it was about maybe 32 to 50 something minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the thick of all this research. I said, I got it. Went to the next thing. But the like 2 minutes I watched, she was doing exactly that, fighting for that legacy of hers. I said, you got it. I'm gonna put respect on it in this, and I'm gonna make sure I call you out singularly. Like, yeah.
Okay, so you heard it and you knew immediately, like, okay, I don't need to fight over this. I need to. I heard the queen,
Just acknowledge it. Just
and I'm
acknowledge
making the
it.
adjustment.
And while these are more over the course of the 50 years of hip hop thing, uh, gladly, gratefully, I had Travis McCoy. And I know he's not a matriarch or even a woman, but he came into my comment section, saw the blurb I wrote about him, and I mentioned how he introduced the world to Bruno Mars on Billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I would hope that my legacy is more than just introducing folks to Bruno Mars. He's like, matter of fact, I know my legacy is more than that. And I'm like, oh, no disrespect, OG. Let me change it right now. So I did a little more research. And I found that even with the Jersey Club thing, you got DJs coming in correcting me. I said, that's what I said. Call me out, correct me with some love. I want no smoke. And
Right.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show y'all to do justice, diligence, and love. So with each part of the Jersey Club series, I'm correcting things. Oh, my fault. Got that wrong again. Corrected it. Part 4, I was 99% right. I got one picture wrong, and I'm upset about that. Anyway, like with Travi down there, we ended up having a conversation. He said, "Man, this is dope, though. I'm appreciate. I appreciate being mentioned at all." And now his blurb was like a lot more, and I got to learn a little more about him. Like Gym Class Heroes, y'all been popping since the early mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just got hip to y'all in 2010s when I was in high school.
Mm.
And I'm telling people now, and they're like, "Oh, what was that about?" And I was like, "Well, he wanted respect on his name, rightfully so, because he
Rightfully
deserved
so.
it. And
Yeah.
he had to fight for his legacy." And as
Yeah.
I'm seeing, a lot of people are fighting for that. And I'm sure if I was in his shoes or somebody did the same, yeah, I did more than that. Let's,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
what put respect on my name is. It's telling the story the right way. And you get the aggression only because people get tired of having to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So when you have been in that position, and this is true for all people. This isn't something that's specific to gender, race, or anything. But when people don't get the credit that they deserve, yeah, you're gonna feel a little some type of
Don't
way
feel
about
the
that.
way.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, with the DJ who was like, "That ain't me, man. I deserve an apology." Like Travi came with that energy, but didn't even say the same thing. Like I know I did more than that. He just came there, planted his foot, drew his line in the sand, and said, "Yeah, I did that. I
Yeah,
know I did that. I don't need your
yeah,
blurb to say that. This is
yeah.
dope though." Like that's what he.
So there's nothing wrong with that happening.
Mm,
Because if you don't talk about it, how can the correction even be
how can
made?
that happen? Yup.
Yeah. So, and now that we're all of the work that you did on hip hop story and tracing it back to the Renaissance era, like, I'm so proud of you for doing all of that, because that needs to be documented, and it needs to be documented based on how you understand it now. And folks, please let it be known if something needs to be tweaked. Like, this is our art. This is why Sylvia had to step in and do what she did. It's like,
Mm,
if she didn't do it, and if somebody else did it, would it be the same? Like, she really wanted to make sure that the cultural components were what they were.
mm,
It was not taking people and putting them in the studio as much as it was capturing the energy, capturing the things for the culture that she had to preserve. So this
mm,
is another reason why I give her a pass on any mismanagement that may have been out there, because if she didn't solidify that as Black art, as hip hop, where would it be? If she didn't step in, it would have been another version of the Black exploitation films. And you know what? Leave that in there.
Mhm.
Please, sir.
That's what I mentioned. Yeah, if she had not, who knows how much sooner somebody would have came in and co-opted it.
Right, right, right. But her approach allowed again for it to be preserved.
Hmm.
Not just taking the pieces that a corporate conglomerate could monetize off of,
I'm
but
glad you put it that way because that confirms it. I don't think we would have the message.
yeah,
I don't think that song would even exist.
yeah, yeah.
We might get some of the commercial stuff that eventually happened, but I don't think the message would have happened.
Right. Not the yeah, because the message that was that
Revolutionary. That's when people started putting messages in the music. That's when we really started using the art form as a means to get somewhere, to say something.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
the first real time we did it.
yeah, it really was.
Everything else was sort of fun rhymes and funky rhymes. We were
Yeah.
just having fun on the beat before that.
Well, for a large portion of it, but the album that I and I need to do my research on this, but that I see and as being the first hip hop album was in 1970, The Last
The
Poets.
Last Poets and the
Yeah,
Watts Prophets.
yeah.
You know
And
what?
that music was not party music.
And I'm so upset. I forgot about them in the series. The Lost Poets and the Watts Prophets. I started with Sugar Hill Gang. I should have started with them guys because that, yeah,
But I mean, most of us start with Sugar Hill Gang,
fair.
So this, and again, this is about us discussing the timeline, hip hop's
Hmm.
evolution. So that's something that I would love to see people weigh in on.
Hmm.
People, that were part of, hip hop's start, and
Yeah.
what your content, showed dating it back to the Renaissance era, also um shows how the message and not talking about the song, the message, but
Hmm.
the civil rights message was baked into the
Hmm.
music. And the Last Poets, they were very much on, you know, wake up,
That revolutionary
that
time.
revolutionary time.
Just in the titles of the songs. Yeah, they.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going, yeah.
Uh-huh. We're gonna
They,
leave it there. Folks that watch, just go look them up. That's all you got
and
to do.
yeah, and so going back to Sylvia again on this, Rapper's Delight was a fun song. But so to shift from that to the message in just a few year span, because
Yeah.
I think the Rapper's Delight came out 79,
Yep.
80,
Yep.
and then the message came out in 83.
Yep.
So she didn't take a whole lot of time to be like, okay, I got your ear. I
Come
got
in.
your ear.
Boom. So come in real quick. No, we ain't gonna jump you. Get him.
Now here it is.
Uh-huh.
And what a lot of people, I don't think there's enough people that really understand what was going on in New York at that time. And one of the documentaries that I highly recommend people watch to really understand why the message was needed is Netflix, Bobby Kennedy for President. Bobby
Mm.
Kennedy for president. So when he started to visit certain parts of New York and seeing, how impoverished people were living, like he was disgusted. And what he shared and how passionate he was about turning things around, it aligned with what was shared in the message. So Sylvia really, took that art and got people's attention, but allowed it to be what it was, which was a way for us to be heard, a way for us to get our message heard. So kudos to her. Kudos to her. And MC Shyrock, I do no disrespect with paying homage to, Sylvia Robinson. Again, glad you got your lawsuit, glad you won it. But she has a place. She has a place in the history. She has a place in the history. So, was there anything else you wanted to say about MC Shyrock or
just that I'm glad she's still fighting to put respect on her name because she deserves it.
yes, yes, yes. And that's I definitely co-sign that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what she said, you got to fight, fight, fight. And you know, I'm glad she did it because that inspires others to do the same. You don't give
Mm-hmm.
up. And it was a 40-year battle. You don't give up. You don't.
That's a long time to be fighting.
It's a long time to be
Yeah,
fighting, but
yeah.
she had that energy. She got
Added
it.
in. First
Yeah.
female MC, it makes sense she got it in there.
Right, 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 right. So let's talk about talk about my girl, Big Teeth, Queen Latifah. Because I want to say that for the missteps that Sylvia may have made, Big Teeth got it right. The way that she brought at the time their name was they were known as the New Style, but the way that she brought Naughty by Nature under her fold and introduced them to the Flavor Unit crew, to me is a beautiful example of somebody who comes up and makes sure that they're reaching back as soon as possible. And she nurtured them. I caught some content and I can't remember which guy's name it is, and I apologize. It wasn't Tretch, it wasn't Vinny. So what's the third guy's name? Do you know?
Stretch, Vin Brock, and DJ KG.
Okay, so it was him. It was the DJ. DJ, what is it again?
KG, and that's
DJ.
spelled out KAYGEE.
Okay. So he was talking about it and he said that Queen Latifah, she just took care of them. Like that, she just welcomed them in. Like they didn't have contracts signed, none of that, but she just took care of them. She let them know that the name that they chose just wasn't going to be it. Like, she mentored them and she taught them what she knew too. And that was amazing for her to put them on like that.
Mm.
I love it. And I love Big Teeth because she just doesn't stop. She keeps growing and glowing, and she's always looking for ways to bring people with her. Even
Mm.
when she had her show, and her show was cut, Slim, she continued to pay people because that was like she felt and I love
Yeah,
this. She felt responsible for them, and
yeah.
that's how it should be,
You
I
brought them on
think.
to feed families. Y'all got cut off because I got cut off. All right, I'm responsible for y'all now. That's
Right. Y'all rode with me, so I'm riding with
yeah,
y'all,
yeah.
And she doesn't have to be that way,
No,
but she gets it, and she's is she from Brook City?
I think
I
she's
don't
from
think
East Orange.
so. Okay. Which is L Boogie's from East Orange too,
Yep.
right?
Well, but hey, us and the bricks, we claim them both.
Okay.
She is from Newark. My fault, big dog. IT. She is from Newark.
She is from Newark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love her so much. I really do. I love, 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 love Big Teeth. And I'm going to say it as loud as I possibly can because I've always loved her. And um, not we don't have to stay on this topic for too long, but I think it deserves to be said. Big Teeth, I love you. But with her sexuality being in question for so long, um it was hard for me to fully embrace her because if you embrace people at that time, it was seen as though you got down with that, so
If
to
you
say.
identify, yeah.
Yeah, and since I love men very much, I didn't want to be identified that way,
Uh-huh.
but that didn't have anything to do with it. She
Mm-hmm.
was who she was. She is who she is,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets all the love and respect. And my niece, one day I took a FaceTime call, Slim, and I just woke up, so I was looking like I was looking, do rag on, and my niece told me I look like Ursula.
That's kind of crazy. That's
Yeah. And I'm like,
your niece. That's like your sister.
no, no,
Oh,
this is my niece.
that
And
was that hard, honest young little kid.
no, she's older than you. I'm 13 years older than her.
I was thinking,
So
what? How old was she at the time?
this was just last year.
Oh Lord, she was just being mean at that point. She was just trying to cook you. That's crazy.
She couldn't, and I'm like, but since I know that I denied my love for Big T for so long, I ain't even clap back. I ain't clap back, but I'm like, if she was at Khadijah, it would have been no problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right.
You
So
got it.
yeah, she got it. I just don't answer FaceTimes with my do rag on anymore. I don't, lesson learned.
No, but it's funny you mentioned Teeth as one of the matriarchs because when I got to doing this, she was the first one I jumped to, and then I went down the bunny hole. I was like, how could I forget about Salt and Pepper? I was like, oh, let me throw MC Light in there. Oh, Roxanne Shante, she just had a biography come out. And I was like, and I'm still going down this bunny hole. Shaw Rock, what are we talking about? But
Yeah,
with Teeth being the matriarch, she just carried the culture, like not just motherly, bringing in Naughty by Nature, like, and bringing her people with her, making sure everybody was good and taken care of. But even with these shows, and when she shows up as Khadijah, when she shows up in Set It Off,
set it off
it's
here.
just black. Got these
Yeah,
ponytails in your hair. You got this, the black, the gold and the green and the red, these Pan African garbs and the kufis, man.
yeah,
Unapologetically black. That's
yes,
I'm black and I'm blackety black. She might as well have been in the video.
yes, yes, yes. And she, before the term, unapologetically black was a thing. Like, she was that image for me, and that's why I loved her so much, because she ushered in a new way of being during that
Mm,
time. It was, because since I'm as old as hip hop, I grew up. I was in middle school when, like, the medallions became popular and things like that, and
mhm,
everybody wore them. But to me, I ain't gonna even lie, it still, it felt masculine to me, and I
mm,
wanted to maintain some of my femininity, but I still had one. But when when Queen Latifah hit, like, she represented it in a different way. Like, she brought the African feminine figure that I
mm.
hadn't seen before. You
It was
know,
powerful.
it was powerful. It was powerful. And, her outfits were always fly. I don't think people talk enough about how beautiful her hair is, whether it was long, short, whatever. But she stood in who she was, and she wasn't trying to be like anyone else. She was just being herself. And I will always admire, being around when she first came out and seeing how she has grown and how she has evolved. And I love her so much. I really do. So, again, I don't answer FaceTime calls with my do-rag on. but even that comment meant that I was not one to be messed with that morning.
Who you calling up? Uh-huh.
And you know what? So let's talk about this for a second, because I don't think this song gets enough credit. But what Queen Latifah and the women of that time, MC Light, Salt and Pepper, like, they get the credit for um just being unapologetically themselves.
Uh-huh.
But that collaboration, that Brandy, Queen Latifah, MC Light, Yo Yo, I know Mary J was in it, for I Want to Get Down. Like,
I wanna
I
be
don't think
back.
that collaboration gets the props that it does. Because right now, I want to stand up and start shaking some stuff, because that song is
Uh,
powerful.
when they did it for the BT Awards, right?
No, I don't know if
Like
that's, but
they
I'm
might have brought it back.
yeah, they did, Slim.
It was in
And I'm feeling old
'94.
now, because you might have been in the crib when that thing
I
first
wasn't
came
even
out.
born. I wasn't even born. I thought that was new when they brought it back. That was oh man.
You weren't born when I Want to Get Down came out. Oh my God,
It was 94 when they did the remix. When
yeah.
did that Brandy album drop? Cause I definitely I'm well versed with the brand, you know.
Have
She
you not seen the original video?
um you know what? I might have, cause on my sisters and cousins they used to bump it all the time.
But so it's
But
not
not the
even.
remix. That's probably because we grew up in a house where my pops ain't allowed us to listen to rap because it became something it wasn't. But
So do we need to pause real quick so you can watch this for about 5-6 minutes? Let's do it, because I need
okay,
your reaction to this.
okay.
All right. So I'm gonna hit pause, and we're gonna stay in here because I actually want to see it while you're listening to it too. So I'm gonna hit pause, and we're gonna come back. All right, I got my fan on because I got a little I start spitzing a little bit. Damn it.
Got
Oh,
an
what?
MC bag.
Oh my goodness. What do you think about that, Slim?
I'm ashamed I ain't know about it sooner, and I just gotta sit in that. I just gotta sit in that, you know. Hard,
Well, that's
dope
why we
as
come
advertised.
together. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said just dope as advertised. You see all
Oh,
the names together, you would expect some fireworks, and that's what they gave us.
fire, fire. And that's why we've come together. So, you have introduced me to stuff. I got my notes from Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Morale and the Big Stepper, and we talked about that. I ain't going to listen to that, but so many more times. Um, but this is what we're able to do for one another, introduce those hidden gems. And that song, like, so that was from my heyday, Slim. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
was from my heyday. I was going to see a friend of mine, rest in peace, Pastor Kemp. He just passed away last month. But I would go up to Rutgers. He was on the Bush campus, and that was our music. Like, that was when Bad Boys was like in all the clubs. And when that song came out, it was like serious girl power, because whoo, you heard it. You heard
Mm-hmm.
it. So yeah, New Brunswick. When I hear that song, New Brunswick comes to mind. Rutgers University comes to mind. My black engineers up there. If y'all catch this, Jermaine, Warney, and there's others. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've seen y'all, but shout outs to all y'all. But that was just a time. It was a vibe. It was a vibe. Mm. I'm so happy you know that song now. So happy you know it.
It was a remix.
Yes. To me, it wasn't just a remix. Like, that was a totally different experience. It
Yeah.
wasn't just it wasn't adding bars. It was a total new piece of art.
And brought some more context.
Yes, and they were way more direct with what I want to be down meant.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Way
And
more
like what the particular, like, yeah.
But that's what they meant for me. That female empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
but not the toxic femininity, not that we don't need men. It was, oh yeah, we love you and we want to be down, and here's what we expect. Here's what we want to see. Was women saying, I got a voice in this too. So that's what the women of hip hop have meant for me, the matriarchs. And
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about Salt and Pepper, they don't get enough credit for how honest their lyrics were. And they were, again, we keep saying unapologetically black, but that was truly them. And they just, whew, they were amazing. Amazing. And shout out to all of them, all of them. uh yeah, we're going to talk about her more. just living single, like what that show did to Black culture too, and
That's
what
what I mentioned. You see her on the show and the garb and the color schemes. Yeah, it was just so black. Yeah.
yeah, but it's so Black and so elevated, because even on living single, like she owned a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we, have talked about, like the myth of perfection. Like
Mm,
even on that show, her being, the owner of that magazine, like she still let the issues that an executive and a small business owner face, like they were represented on that show. Like
mm,
that show, it was honest about what success is, and like I said, it was post college for everyone. But they still, they still had their challenges, and they
mm,
still needed to lean on everybody very much, or lean on each other. So, at no point do we don't get to a point where we have success and we don't need people.
mm,
Like we need people, we need community, we need partners.
mm,
We do so much better when we come together. And there were things that were done and said on that show. I just saw a TikTok not long ago where Regine had came in with an outfit, and this is on Living Single. But
mm.
Regine came in with an outfit that um, it was African garb, and Queen Latifah makes this face. Khadijah, her character Khadijah makes
Uh-huh.
this face, and then they just start teasing her and making sounds that would not fly today.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to do that, but it was just an honesty on that show, and a love of blackity blackness that was always present, always present. So big, big teeth is something, and shout out to her, shout out to her.
Uh-huh. I was
You
gonna say, dare I even say the forbidden name before we carry on for 20 more minutes? Not
Go ahead,
forbidden. Her name's not forbidden.
go ahead. Let's
Miss
talk.
Miss Boogie.
L Boogie. Let's talk about her. Let's talk about her.
Everything is everything. When we talk about the Matriarchs, I think she's a nice bridge because when you hear all the dopest female MCs of today, not the most popular, but the dopest, and this isn't to say that the most popular ones aren't bad at rapping. That's just to say the ones I have in mind center themselves around the culture a lot more and what we talk about on this show. And I mentioned them to you before. It's No Name, Chica, Dochi, rappers like that and of that caliber. Um I feel like they often connect back to Lauryn Hill. I think actually now I'm reminded the other homework I gave you is to listen to Telephone by No Name. I don't know if you got a chance to get to it because Morale and the Big Step is that's a heavy one.
Yeah, I had to take a break, but let me write this down again. So, and I don't need to do this during the recording, but if it doesn't get done now, I'm gonna miss out. So,
Telephone instead of a PH, I think it's a F.
okay, say it again. Say it again.
Telephone by No Name. Yeah, it's an F instead of a PH.
Okay,
And No
telephone.
Name is one word. You often hear her say everything is everything so often, and we get that from the Matrix. So who is this person inspired by? And No Name is a bit of a revolutionary. She's got the book club started over in Chicago, and even in her music, like the further projects she does, like Sundial, she's spitting some like very real, like, and that's why she's not mainstream or pushed out to the masses as much as she ought to be. It's because what she's talking about is
Mhm.
she's very rooted in hip hop. So it's really impressive. I'm jumping over to Dochi now. It's impressive that she's been able to center herself in the mainstream light the way she has. I'm hoping now that she has all the attention, she's going to wow us with a few more things. But a lot of what she's doing is blackety black. She did a performance on Jimmy Kimmel with they had the cornrow, the weave box braided into each other's hair. It was three of them, and their braids were braided into each other.
Wow.
That's just, huh?
Oh, right, right.
Stuff like that. Or in your songs, you go, ooh ha, step into that, and I look too fly. Ooh ha, going back to Bus in the 90s. Like, that's just, she gets it. And
Yeah.
even when she accepted her Grammy, she mentioned Miss L Boogie. For a woman to put out that one project, and we ain't even get into the content of said project. You could go back to episode, what, two? What we talked
Yeah.
about, how you
Very
gonna
true.
win? She inspires me. You put
Yeah.
out one project and it's lasted and it stood the test of time, not only and has remained a pillar of the culture. That's you asked me top three albums in hip hop history. I have to put Low. I have to put that one in that top three. I have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that album, that first one, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is what, the fourth week of Black History Month, just for the podcast, was supposed to be about the miseducation of America. And it was a play on that, the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Um, but that content, that was soul food, and that was her being, in the industry and having experienced and seen some things, and her saying, how am I going to teach the next generation? So it was, I don't think Lauryn Hill is gets the credit for being the teacher that she is,
Mm.
but she's a teacher.
And he mentioned all those interviews, and that's exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, yeah, and for that one album to hold up like it did, it did that because it remains true. Like, when do you not need to be right within? You know what I mean?
I'm about to say, even on doo wop, she's got verses dedicated to the women, to the men. Let me tell you something real quick. Very much talking. That's teaching.
Yes.
All on these records make it sound dope. What?
Yeah. And she did the thing. She really did. And that, so your song, How You Gonna Win, just the title, touched my heart. But what that song reminds me of is when D'Angelo did Untitled, because D'Angelo, also a Prince fan, like, he created a song that was his own, but
Mm,
embodied like Prince's essence, if you will. And
mm,
I feel like how you gonna win does a lot of that too. And there are some things that you clearly pulled and wanted to, emulate. But even with how you did that, it's still so personal for you. So, like, using your class as part of that song, like, that is the part that, like, when I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, I want this song to be the biggest hit just for them babies,
just for them. I want them to be
just
like,
for them.
yo, I remember that day I was on that. Not just they come to my social media and see it. No, I want y'all to hear this thing everywhere.
Yeah.
Just for them, not even for my sake.
Yeah. And I want, like, so I can't tell you, I really want that to make it to El Boogie's ears. And
That's that aside from the class hearing it on whatever major places, that's my main goal. I'm like, I'm in Jersey. I'm too many points connected to her. Like we gotta get this song to her ears. I'm just
yeah,
hoping like maybe it brings a smile to her face. Like for her to know, yeah, we heard you and we carrying the baton. And it's
yeah,
funny I brought up those three rappers because they all within the same breath. They're in the same strain. Those are students of her. Sing
yes,
songy, all can spit an ill 16 and all are rooted in the culture like that
yeah.
and care about the culture.
Yeah, as she did. It's like, that my Juneteenth T-shirt, that I'm like, this is not just for Juneteenth. The dear ancestors. I understood the assignment.
Mm,
Like, those artists are that for her. Like, they got it, and she's here, so she can get her flowers now,
mhm,
and I love that for her because the industry wasn't kind to her, and we talked about this in a previous episode, when she came out with her unplugged, MTV unplugged, that music, I could not appreciate it then the way that I do now.
mm.
And damn,
Ahead of time. Ahead of her time.
ahead of the times, but at the same time, Slim, it was her teaching again.
Mm,
And she even, she talks so much during that, and I listen to, what she says between songs just as much as I do the songs, because she's like letting people know you're gonna feel a little off when you're doing something that is at a soul level, because she is learning about herself and she's teaching us at the same time. And she even talks at one point about being kind of a mad scientist. So like she's saying, things that she learns, like she tries them out on herself first and then she shares. But that's what mama birds do. That's what nature does. Like you check things for the babies. So she's not going to give out a process or a suggestion on how to get certain types of healing done if she don't try those things for herself. So she's not, it's not lip service with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that that's why, it takes so long for her to create this content, because she has such a responsibility to educate, uplift, and to help free people mentally. She
And you
can't.
don't want to do it wrong. You don't want to rush that.
Yeah, she's not going to. I think she's made that very clear. She's not going to. Like the work that she does is at a soul level, and she's in the business of helping people connect with the things that are, at, at within their soul. She's working to to help folks, find their own mental peace and freedom. You can't just rush through that. You can't rush through that. And I love her so much. I really do. And I am so proud to have seen all of the work that these matriarchs that we've discussed. I'm so proud to be able to have bear to be able to bear witness to their evolution, their growth, and just seeing how true and how real they are. How true and how real they are. They stayed true to themselves. They weren't compromising, and
And that's
that's
hip hop.
say that again.
And that's hip hop.
Yes, that's hip hop,
Yeah.
and not rap. Rap is a component of hip hop, but what we just discussed is hip hop. Is hip hop. So thank you to the women for keeping that there, the nurturing, the education, the love. Thank you. And for the men, to the men for holding us down too. For holding us down too. Yes, we talking about the matriarchs, and we're holding them up right now. But it's Black love. It's about Black love, love of self, love of community, love of your neighbors. Black love. So that's that. And with that, are we gonna say goodbye, Slim?
With that, we say goodbye.
With that. All right, and thank you again for my flowers, and
Always.
I'm gonna replay that, and I'm gonna let my tear ducts do what they do, and but thank you, and see you guys next week for. Let me say it this way. Let's talk about the difference between men and women, which, if you look at studies, and there really isn't any in terms of what we offer. But why does it feel different? Why are there only 3% of Black women in the hip hop industry, that are in executive positions when Sylvia did what she did? When Queen Latifah does what she does, when all the other ones did what they did, MC Shyrock, like, I'm very happy that MC Shyrock won her battle, but the battle, it continues for all of us. So yeah, let's talk about that next week. And this Friday is the start of Ramadan 2025. So I want to say Ramadan Mubarak to the kings, queens, and in betweens. And on that, we're going to end this episode. Episode 4 is down, and we'll see you next week for episode 5 when we talk about more women's stuff and how we can improve treatment, paychecks, a whole lot of other things. Yeah.
Too much.
Oh.
List is too long.
The list is too long. Yeah. So we're going to get it down to a couple of bullets and we'll be ready for next week. So, all right. Well, on that note, bye, folks.
Why would I throw in the towel? I just got in my bag. I don't make no mistakes. I'm coming for mine, and there ain't no one taking my place. Listen, I've taken some L's. Yeah, that means I lived and I learned. Now I got some money to burn. Why would I throw in the towel? I just got in my bag. I don't make no mistakes. I'm coming for mine, and there ain't no one taking my place. Listen, I've taken some L's. Yeah. That means I lived and I learned. Now I got some money to burn. Why would I throw in the towel? I just got in my bag. Slow the stars, what they calling out. I don't know what they talking about. Scoop saying back in Rio.